Some national parks are best explored on foot, but others can be enjoyed right from your vehicle.
We're Matt and Cheryl, and if there's a scenic drive in the West, we've done it.
So today we're covering the best national parks for scenic drives, and we're going to kick it off with Canyonlands National Park in Utah. Canyonlands has a couple of fantastic scenic drives that we want to share with you here. So the first one is the drive to the Needles District, which is a separate district in Canyonlands. They actually have 4 different districts in Canyonlands. All of them are really pretty, but this is the southern one, and just driving to the Needles District will take you through a gorgeous valley.
Yes, and you are driving through these red rock buttes, and in the spring, there's even wildflowers. It is just gorgeous.
Yep, looks like something out of a Western movie. The last time we were there, we drove through the valley on our way to hike Chesler Park in the Needles District. A famous hike there that's like 11 miles long is absolutely gorgeous, and our memories, the wildflowers of it. I mean, it was just like this desert red rock, but it was kind of carpeted in some green and wildflowers. It was really nice, both the drive and the hike.
Well, I was going to say, I think my memory is that Matt enjoyed the drive more than the hike.
Yeah, I'll take the easy views. Okay, the other road in Canyonlands National Park to drive is the Schaefer Trail. This is in the Island in the Sky district of Canyonlands, and this is unreal. So this takes you from the top plateau down to the bottom. So you drop about 1,200 feet, something like that. And one of the steepest drop-offs and switchbacks we've ever driven.
The road just hugs the side of the canyon, and some of the switchbacks are so narrow, it's a 3-point turn to get around the turn. I will never forget, before we drove it, Matt standing at the top and just watching the cars and like sizing it up, and like I could tell Matt's a pretty chill guy, but I could tell he was a little scared.
Yeah, I white knuckled that drive all the way down the switchbacks, but one of the most memorable experiences. And then it's a couple-hour drive into Moab after that on a dirt road. So, just Canyonlands, what a great park for scenic drives, and a great way to kick off the video here. Okay, up next is Yellowstone National Park, and probably not really what you're thinking. So the main road that goes around Yellowstone is called the Grand Loop Road, and it's mostly in the valleys and in the meadows. But there are 3 roads that lead into Yellowstone, and they all go through the mountains there. They're called the Absaroka Mountains. And so these are 3 of the most spectacular scenic drives we've driven. Fantastic. So it's called the Beartooth Highway, goes from Red Lodge, Montana into Yellowstone. The Chief Joseph Highway goes from Cody, Wyoming into Yellowstone. And then the Buffalo Bill Highway goes from Cody, Wyoming, also into Yellowstone. So there's 2 entrances over on the east side of Yellowstone, and these roads all lead to those entrances.
When we drove the Beartooth Highway, I will never forget that we just kept driving up and up and up. And I felt like we were going to end at the sun. I mean, I felt like we were so high up in the sky, and I just never knew when that road was going to end. It blew me away. I love that road.
Yeah, that has some pretty steep switchbacks and climbs really fast too. That you climb high, fast on that road, and that's one of the more scary drives that we've done as well. And kind of a mix of a couple of roads that we're going to talk about later in this video, I thought.
Yeah, and I think we rank them. We like Beartooth, then the Cody, and then Chief Joseph, but we think they're all amazing.
They are all amazing.
Yes.
The last time we went to Yellowstone just this year, we drove the Chief Joseph Highway. It's really cool going over that bridge, over the canyon. Oh my gosh. So really, really cool scenic drives there.
Next up is the Scenic Drive through Arches National Park. This ride is great because it's not scary at all. It's a paved road. It's only like 30 minutes to the end of the park, and then you get to turn around. But you're getting to drive through arches. Are you kidding me? I mean, this road does not get enough love.
No, but it's not just arches either. Like there's all these different formations that you encounter on the road, and it's just varied looks all the way throughout. So you kind of start off by going through the courthouse towers, these really cool kind of pillar formations. I really like, that's my favorite part of the drive actually. And then you see balanced rock as you're driving by, and then you'll end up seeing the fiery furnace and just like Salt Valley, which is like, it sounds, Salt Valley is just this kind of crazy desolate area, but then it ends at Devil's Garden with those fins, and so like just so many different formations that you see. It's just really fun. It goes up and down. That's a cool drive.
Very much.
Okay, up next is a park that I visited. Cheryl hasn't visited yet, but it's Mount Rainier National Park in Washington. And every single drive in Mount Rainier is stunning. I mean, I was blown away. I had no idea what to expect. I'd heard about some of the hikes. I heard about how great Mount Rainier was, but I did not expect some of the incredible scenic drives there. So they have Stevens Canyon and the Sunrise Road, and these are just sharp drop-offs. I mean, wow, so sharp and crazy. And I just remember pulling out of one of the switchbacks up on Sunrise Road, and just then Mount Rainier appears, and it was just breathtaking, really amazing. One of the roads is called the Mather Memorial Highway. This is an all-American road. This is like Washington's only all-American road. This road is so great. They're saying this is a thing to go do in and of itself, is just go drive the Mather Memorial Road. And those switchbacks were also kind of terrifying. I pulled off to the side to try to get a little bit of a look down, and I got a little nervous and I didn't want to get too close. And then cars ended up coming by and they kind of trapped me in there, and they were all honking at me because I was in the road. I hadn't pulled off far enough because it was a little scary. I was blown away by how sheer the roads were in Washington.
Here's a little thing you need to know about Matt. Matt drives and he'll film with his hands sticking out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't with him to film. So if there's B-roll of this, just know that's how that was shot. Matt driving, filming, and not falling off the edge of the canyon.
Yeah, all the shots you see while we're talking about this is pretty much me filming out the top of our sunroof. So oh my gosh, Mount Rainier, I want to go back there just for the drives. That was fantastic. I loved it.
Next up is the Trail Ridge Road of Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. And what is so cool about this road is it is the longest high elevation road. And what I really like about it is that it's not too scary to drive. It's paved. There are drop-offs, but they're not like right next to the road. And it's very neat because as you drive up the road, you go through different climate zones. Like you start off and there's lots of forests, trees, things like that. And then you get up a little higher and all of a sudden there's no trees because it's too high elevation and you're in the tundra. And once you reach the tundra, this is where I like to quit looking at the road and the scenery, and I like to get out of the car and I like to look for the tundra flowers that are like half an inch above the ground. They're so tiny and so cool.
This is another all-American road, by the way. And what's cool about this one is, most roads up in the mountains, you're going to the top and then, you're coming down. Trail Ridge Road, you get up on top and then you ride the ridge for a while, like you're driving on top of the world for several miles. That is a unique experience for sure, and one that you got to do.
Well, then when you drive down to Ground Lake, you're starting to get more into the plains. Like, it's pretty. I mean, you see a lot of cool things on this drive.
Yep. We have several resources on our website if you're visiting the West to check out. Our website is we'reintherockies.com. A lot of articles on there and itineraries for trips if you're visiting some of these places. Also, let us know your favorite scenic drive in the comments, and if we haven't done it, we'll try to go do it.
Next up is Capitol Reef National Park in Utah because it has two very cool drives. The first one is the Capitol Gorge Drive, which actually takes you, this is the best slot canyon drive I've ever been on. Normally you have to do some hiking to get in a slot canyon, but not at Capitol Reef on this one. You are sandwiched between two really tall canyon walls, just slowly driving between beautiful scenery. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, so unique. That is awesome. And actually, Capitol Reef, here is another park where everywhere you drive is a beautiful drive in Capitol Reef. You've got the desert red rock scenery, but we're only talking about two of them here. So the next one is the Loop the Fold drive. They call this the Loop the Fold because the big formation in Capitol Reef is the water pocket fold. and anyway, you drive around this thing. And it's like a 5-hour experience. It's like a half a day experience to drive around this. And on the drive, you're going to go up or down the Burr Trail switchbacks, which are some fantastic switchbacks that a farmer made way, way long ago to drive his cattle down to the bottom valley. And then after that, after we drove those switchbacks, we ate at the Burr Trail Grill, which was incredible food in the most remote town, Boulder, Utah. It's crazy.
Well, this was one of those son-in-law moments. So my parents came with us when we drove this, and we were in our Sequoia with 8 people, and my dad hates heights. He was kind of stressing out and not loving his son-in-law so much for taking him on that crazy drive. But then Matt made it up to him by getting him some awesome food at the Burr Trail Grill.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, up next is Olympic National Park. So again, I visited this one and Cheryl didn't visit this one with me, but a couple of great drives in Olympic National Park in Washington. So the first one goes up to the mountains. Olympic is so unique because it has mountains and forests and beaches and all that. And the first drive goes up to Hurricane Ridge. And here again, after driving those roads of Mount Rainier, now I'm driving up the Olympic Mountains to Hurricane Ridge with these sharp drop-offs. And that last switchback was a real doozy. It was really, I was like, what is around the bend here? And I turn around there and just straight drop-offs with these incredible panoramic views of the Olympic Mountains. I saw a couple of deer there on the ridge. It was just awesome. I loved that viewpoint and that drive up to Hurricane Ridge. It reminded me a lot of Zugspitz in Germany, just looking out over the peaks. It was really cool. And then the other drive actually circles around the entire park. It's just Highway 101. It's like the main drive that goes around the Olympic Peninsula. And it takes you to all the various entry points of Olympic National Park. And it goes by Lake Crescent. It goes through the forest. It goes along the beaches. I mean, the variety that you get driving Highway 101 in Olympic National Park is insane. It's out of this world. So, man, Washington State just delivers. That was really cool. Both of those national parks. Plenty of scenic drives.
Next up is Badlands National Park in South Dakota. Badlands has just an amazing scenic drive that goes throughout the park. And we always joked about saying that Badlands is beautiful in a desolate sort of way. I mean, it just looks like these giant mud stacks throughout the park. But if you go there in the spring, that's actually pretty green there. I mean, we saw a lot of vegetation. And the other thing that kind of blew me away as we were driving through this scenic drive is there are dozens of viewpoints as you go through. And I was like trying to write in because I was just preparing to know what the best ones were for a blog post. And I'm like, these are all fantastic. Every stop you take, you are just kind of wowed by the scenery you see.
Yeah, Badlands always feels like an underrated national park to me because I kind of forget about it, and with all the mountain and red rock parks and stuff like that. But every time I go back there, we really enjoy Badlands. I always forget kind of how the drive goes up and down through those buttes and how pretty it is, and then just all the fun exploration that you can do on those buttes is really cool. Badlands fun little spot, about a one-day park there. Now, while we're in the Badlands, this is close to the Black Hills of South Dakota. So the next up is Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills. Now, you've heard of Mount Rushmore. Maybe you haven't heard of the Black Hills, but the whole point of Mount Rushmore is to get you there to see the amazing Black Hills. And there are some incredible scenic drives. Some of my all-time favorites are in the Black Hills. And the first one is the Needles Highway. This is a drive that goes through these spiky granite formations in the Black Hills called the Needles. And my memory is just the first time driving that, like being blown away by the tunnels. On that one, you go through several tunnels, and one of them is a long tunnel that you go through that is just you can just barely fit your vehicle through there. I mean, if you have a truck, you're talking a few inches on each side to get through there. I mean, it is so fascinating. It's really fun to drive that drive.
And fun to watch people go through the tunnel.
Yeah, just super slow. Yep. And then the other drive is the Iron Mountain Road. And this is famous for the pigtails is what they called. And so the road just circles around. It leads to Mount Rushmore. That's kind of the fun thing about the Iron Mountain Road is that you're driving these pigtail formations through the plains, through the hills. And then every once in a while you can stop and you can get out and you can see Mount Rushmore from a distance. So like as you're driving to Mount Rushmore, it kind of builds the excitement for it. And then you end at Mount Rushmore.
And we did a real spontaneous thing when we were there a couple of years ago. We rented a slingshot and drove these scenic drives in a slingshot. And I'll tell you what, we had a 24-hour rental, and I'm pretty sure we were driving 16 hours of that. We just took turns putting the kids in the car, and it was one of their very favorite memories of our Mount Rushmore trip. Next up is Glacier National Park's Going to the Sun Road. First time we drove this road was 12 years ago in our minivan. We had 3 small boys. I was pregnant with our daughter. And we started driving up this road, and there was a waterfall going down the side of the mountain and over the road. And I was positive we had taken a wrong turn. I was like, Matt, where are you taking us? But this is just phenomenal. You are looking down at this amazing canyon. And Matt talks about them making this road in his audio guide about Glacier, because it wasn't a done deal doing it the way they did it, but they chose for the more dangerous, more scenic route. And I'm so glad they did because the views are unbelievable.
Of all the scenic drives we've been on, I still think this is number one. It's wildflowers and the way the road's designed, it's just one switchback and then you're just climbing. You're going to the sun the whole way and with wide panoramic views of the valley. It is, oh my gosh, this is still the best drive we've ever been on, and we've been on a lot of amazing drives. Going to the Sun Road in Glacier National Park is an absolute bucket list item for you.
If you are geeking out on these scenic drives, you need to check out our 2025 Best Road Trips video, or you can also check out our Utah Scenic Drives.
Thanks for watching.